that's actually how I discovered you guys, because
No way, that's crazy.
yeah, I think you did like, I think it was during Black History Month, if I'm not mistaken. You did like this thing, and a local artist from Ottawa reached out to me and was asking me to help him with his segment with you guys.
Who was it?
Lance.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. Shout out Lance. Yeah.
And then he was like, yeah, like I'm doing this thing with this brand, and I kind of looked at the brand, and like she knows me, I'm super picky with like who I work with, at least now, but even before then, and even if it was like not me directly helping you guys, it was important for me to like look at what's going on, you know, before being
you know, into it.
It's the taste. It's the taste.
Yeah, exactly. And I was genuinely so impressed because I realized that like what you guys are doing is what a lot of brands that I've come across, like smaller brands who are starting out, are lacking of. Like the branding, the consistency. And I know it's hard, obviously, to be consistent, but I think like even beside the consistency, you guys have such a specific branding language. And I feel like after seeing that, I was like, I need to make sure that like me, Bernie, as a brand or an artist, needs to be like as clear. Like when people see something, I want people to be like, oh my god, that reminds me of Bernie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
the same way that if we were to see something now, like of your guys' like clothing brand, or even just like the way a photo is taken or whatever, it's like, okay, that's like,
that's you know, like I feel like I could listen to an artist now because I know your brand so well. I could like, oh, this artist, like they could do a collab with No Diploma in some sort of capacity because that branding is so clear. You know. So that's actually how I discovered you guys.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I was
my
fully
discovery
impressed.
story is a little different than yours.
How did you?
I actually discovered you guys in school while I was at LaSalle. This was I discovered you in 2018, but I had started the school in 2017. But it was through my very good friend and roommate at the time, Lisa. She would walk around school with a cap that you had given her at the time, I think, or that she had gotten from the brand.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, and then had the logo on it. Now she would talk about it so often. She was like free promo, like throughout school, constantly about it. Yeah, and then one of our professors was also talking about you guys as well, because I think that's when she had started calling you guys in to speak in the job task class.
Lucy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Or no, Yolande was the teacher.
Okay, yeah.
But I know which professor you're talking about.
Okay, yeah. That's crazy. Wow.
But yeah, even then, like I've worked with like on social media and helping other brands do branding, and like when I do my research, like you guys are always being mentioned. Like look at how they're branding and how can we emulate that.
Thank you.
I think that's super important. And I guess like another question I'd love to know is how did you even find your branding identity? Because I feel like it's really hard.
It's very hard.
And even myself, like especially with styling, I think I struggle so much with finding like my aesthetic as a stylist. And at first I didn't think it was important, or I didn't think that stylist had an aesthetic because you're styling for other people, you know? But then I realized the more I was looking at other people's work, like they had a specific like language or voice within like how they go about their styling. I feel like now I'm starting to have that like language, but how did you go about that process?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I feel like
I know, right?
I feel like a lot of people associate brands with logos sometimes too, and I feel like a brand is so much bigger than a logo.
Yeah,
it's a DNA. It's a representation of let that sit. Let that sit. It's a representation of feelings, of values, of, you know, there's so much more than just a logo. You're really like building a world, you know? And I feel like we're just learning all the time. A brand always evolves too, you know, with time, and like, you know, yourself, you evolve too. So the brand evolves with everything that you do. And I just find that it's just important to like distinguish that. Like if you think of like Nike, you know, like you look at their ads,
that's very true.
And it's like, it makes you feel like you want to be an athlete, you want to be the best, you want to be great. That's that feeling. That's a brand. It's giving you this feeling, you know. It's not like the logo. Of course, we know what the Nike logo looks like now, but like you look back at like their first ads, like that's how they really like they're selling you that feeling, that that greatness, a story.
Yeah, they're selling you an experience.
Exactly, and that's a brand, you know.
Same way like Red Bull says, like Red Bull gives you wings.
But it's like, look at what Red Bull does. They're like, you know, associating themselves with different subcultures like dance, like extreme sports, and it's like they're putting these people as the face of the brand, and they're like really selling you the experience. It's not about the drink, but then you associate those experiences
with the drink,
with the gives you rings, you know.
Right.
So gives you rings, wings, whatever. But yeah, all that to say is like I feel like there's a lot more depth than just like finding your aesthetic or your typography or your like color palette, you know. Like that's a part of it, but there's a lot more to it, you know.
Thank you for tuning in. Subscribe for more.
My name is Bernie.
And my name is Yasmine.
Remember, love always.
And always love.